Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and wow, I hope everybody had a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and got all the rest, got all the joy, happy, whatever you do. Hope everybody really enjoyed that. I want to welcome wherever you're watching this platform, whether you're listening to it on the radio, whether you're watching on E36 television, you transfers TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. Welcome to the show. And I tell you, we got an absolutely fantastic guest back today. She's been on the show a couple of times. And I call her a trailblazer. She's traveling all around the world doing so many wonderful, wonderful things. Very good friend of Michelle and I. And I tell you, I'm not gonna steal the thunder from Michelle because you all know that she's gonna beat me up if I try to steal her thunder. How are you doing today, Dr. Cooley? How you doing?
I'm doing good, doing good. Yeah, this is we love this guest. She's doing so many great things, to inspire, motivate, and basically educate people. And you're right, she is a trailblazer, and she's so full of energy. She is so peppy. The last time, I mean, she's just so passionate about the topics and issues that she communicates to the audience wherever she goes. So we're really excited to have her on the show today, especially talking about this very serious topic and issue.
Yeah, this month is suicide prevention month, and I tell you, I believe that it's a bigger problem than what most people think, and I think one time or another, and people won't admit it, we all have thought about uh, doing something crazy like that at the moment. You know, and I think that the more we discuss these things, we tell people that they're not the only one that felt that way, and that they need to get out and get help. And that's what this great guest is going to talk to us about today. So, Michelle, why don't you do the honors and introduce this absolutely fantastic guest, title of the show, and the purpose of the show?
Oh, most definitely. So the title of the show is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And we're sitting down having a conversation with international mental health speaker, author, and advocate, Dr. Rhonda M. Wood. And we're going to talk about the issue of suicide and raising awareness about it and discuss the misconceptions and stigmas surrounding suicide, the warning signs, the risk, and learn about the support groups, the support you can seek, and other resources available regarding this topic. So let's talk about our guest today. She's returning guest, Dr. Rhonda M. Wood, recognized as one of the most prominent voices for mental health advocacy. Dr. Rhonda M. Wood is an award-winning international keynote best-selling author and a leading authority on mental health. Leveraging over 30 years of corporate experience, Rhonda impacts audiences with her mission to normalize and destigmatize mental health conversations. She trains audiences worldwide to eradicate mental health stigmas and adopt compassion, awareness, and acceptance. She advocates for a world where we can break the silence and heal out loud. She's a compelling thought leader and motivational speaker who supports people's personal, professional empowerment worldwide. In line with her unyielding passion for helping others succeed, she founded RMW Global Enterprises, a worldwide movement that focuses on helping women win from within. She specializes in helping women reclaim their inner power, make peace with their past, and prosper in their purpose so they are empowered to reach their highest potential personally and professionally. In a world where women are expected to stay silent about mental health issues, Rhonda chooses to speak up and shine light and awareness on matters that remain in the shadows. She's the first ever American radio presenter with her own show, Break the Silence, at womensradio.com, a multi-award winning radio station based in the UK that focuses on supporting women's mental health and well-being. She's a recipient of the President Joseph R. Biden 2022 Lifetime Achievement Award. She was awarded an honorary doctorate degree of philosophy and entrepreneurship and business administration by the Trinity International University of Ambassadors School of Business Honors Program in recognition of being a successful leader in business and her work with mental health advocacy and women's empowerment. Please welcome back to the show, Dr. Rhonda M. Wood.
Rhonda, it's always a pleasure having you on, Rhonda. And it's always a pleasure chatting with you because just like Michelle just mentioned, you enlighten all of us with your powerful messages that you share with your attitude. Attitude is always there. and welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Cooley, Dr. James, and Dr. Michelle. I appreciate you both. It is an honor and a pleasure to be back on your show.
We're so happy to have you, especially with September being suicide prevention. First of all, Rhonda, can you tell our audience a little bit about you? I know Michelle shared some, but in case they wasn't watching the last show, can you tell them where you grew up and just a little bit about Dr. Rhonda Woods?
Yeah, so actually, I grew up I'm on the East Coast for all the international folks watching. So I'm in the United States of America. I'm on the East Coast. I'm in the state of Maryland, and I'm about 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes from the White House to kind of give a major landmark. That always helps. And so I've pretty much been here most of my life. I grew up here, went to school here, was born and raised here. I went away to college, but I came back to this area because I actually found employment in this area. Both of my parents are on the other side of heaven. I raised three siblings who one has also transitioned, but the other two are living happy, healthy, thriving lives. I also have an adult daughter, and I have a 2.5-year-old grandson, which a lot of people are surprised to know. So,
Wow. Yeah. First of all, Rhonda, yeah, I've been knowing you for quite some time. You don't even look like you look like you're 31 or 32 or
thank
just
you. I
something like
appreciate that. Yes,
that.
I'll take it.
So Rhonda, tell our viewers and our listeners why it's so important that we talk about suicide prevention, and just tell them.
Sure. Yeah. So, Dr. Cooley, I think it is a difficult conversation, but it's a necessary conversation. We want to make sure that we are spreading awareness. We want to make sure that we are providing resources. We want to make sure that we are providing support. And so, in the instance where we have someone or we meet someone, or even ourselves might be feeling this temptation, to have suicidal thoughts, ideations, or even a plan to, carry something out. We want to know that there is hope. We want to know that, there are people that I can go to talk to, that there are resources. You don't want to wait until something happens or something is about to happen before you act. So we always want to be proactive and not reactive. And so if I'm in a situation, I would love to know that my community is proactive about spreading awareness about suicide prevention. I want to know that my workplace has resources or support. I want to know that my school, if necessary, that those resources are there. If I know that those resources are there, then if I know someone or if I myself might be, in need of some help or support, I know that I can go there. When those things aren't available, when we aren't spreading awareness, when that stigma feels like it's winning, then people have a tendency to keep to themselves. They are silenced by stigma. They're struggling, and they feel like, well, now I feel hopeless because I don't even know if anybody cares. So that's why I think it's important that we have this conversation, that we know that there are resources and support out there.
So how could individuals, our communities, etc., uh, get involved in this to make sure that we are able to spread the word about awareness?
Right. So one of the ways is things like this, having platforms where we can have these open and honest discussions. Like I said, I feel like this is a difficult conversation, but it's necessary. And so someone who might be struggling or know someone who might be struggling or supporting someone who might be struggling, they would flock to this platform to be able to get some information, right? So one is, providing, platforms where we can have open discussions, having these open discussions or forums in our communities, in our schools, in our workplaces, even in our homes, saying, hey, if you're ever struggling, know that you can come and talk to me. Or if you're ever struggling, here are some resources that are available. Here are some numbers you can call. Here are some people or some experts that you can reach out to if you need someone to talk to, whether it's talk therapy, whether it's a support group, or things of that nature. So one is having open discussions on platforms, having resources available, offering yourself as a line of support, supporting companies or organizations that have these types of programs. There's a lot of organizations. NAMI is one, for example, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So supporting, organizations that have programs that help people who might be dealing with these types of thoughts, and they have the resources to help them.
You mentioned thoughts, dealing with these thoughts. As I mentioned in the beginning of the show, that I believe that we all have struggled somewhere along the line. Maybe it might have been for a few seconds or a minute, or maybe others, it might have been for months, years, and days, and still thinking about stuff like that. What would you tell the person out there that's listening to this and watching this, and if they having these type of issues and concerns in their mind? What are some of the things that you would tell that person that they might consider doing?
Well, one of the first things that I would do is to let them know that they're not alone. I think that's so important. I think a lot of times when people are going through difficult times, challenging times, having a hard time with life, or they feel like their thoughts are getting the best of them, a lot of times they feel like they're the only one. I'm in this by myself. So one, letting them know that they're not alone, letting them know that, hey, I am here for you. If you need to talk, if you need me to accompany you to, an appointment, if you need me to help you to make an appointment, need me to help you find some resources, offer myself as a person who you can be open and honest with, letting them know this is a safe, confidential, no judgment space. And I think the three things are so important. I am not going to judge you. I am not going to betray your confidence. And I am here for you, because you're not by yourself. You're not in this alone. And I think, Dr. James, if we're all honest with ourselves, many of us have had times where we may not feel our best. I think adversity is inevitable. People are going to go through challenges, and sometimes they can be overwhelming. And I think it's also important to know that when we feel overwhelmed or burned out or stressed, or feel like sometimes things are just too much, life be life and it's getting the best of us. I think it's important for people to know that that there's always hope, right? That it's never a thing where it's always going to be like this. It's never going to get better. My life is always just so negative and full of negativity or toxicity, or relationships are always failing. Jobs don't want me. I don't have enough money. Debt is out of control. Or even with our mental and emotional well-being, even in those instances, I think it's important for people to know, there is help, there is hope, and there are resources out there that can help. So
hold that thought right there, Doc. We got to take a station break.
Absolutely.
Wherever you're watching this at or listening to it, if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is go to the comments. Ask this great doctor any question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. Yes. You're like, we'll see you shortly after the break.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show, and my wonderful guest here, Dr. Rhonda Woods. We're talking about suicide prevention, which is September Suicide Prevention Month, and some of the resources out there, and some of the things that we all should be aware of, because in our communities, almost every place, even in some of our homes, we have people out there that are suffering and struggling, and they do not know how or not willing to reach out and get help. And this is an issue that I believe that we all have to team up, work together to make sure that we bring this under control. So wherever you're watching this at, if you want to be part of the conversation, just go to the comments, ask any question that you might have, or just become part of the conversation. Dr. Woods, now, at the end of the last segment, you was explaining and talking about some of the resources that people can uh, turn to and get help. Can you pick it up from there?
Yeah, so one of the things that I wanted to mention really quickly was that I think sometimes people may feel like reaching out for help is a sign of weakness. And that is absolutely not true. That is actually part of the stigma. A big reason why people don't reach out for help is because they don't want to look weak. You know, we love to look like we are in control, like we're in charge, like we have it all together. And those things are absolutely fine. But if you find yourself in a situation where you need support, you know, we have the phrase or the tagline, it's okay to not be okay. You know, all of us have been there. You know, none of us are 100%, you know, have great days every single day. We're going to have our ups and downs. We're going to have our good and bad. We're going to have, you know, days when we may not be feeling 100%. And so, you know, if those days feel like, you know, like they are becoming longer and longer, becoming more and more drawn out, extended, you know, instead of having a bad day for a day or two or three, it's becoming, you know, weeks or even, you know, longer, then definitely you want to be able to reach out. And so in terms of resources, you know, there's a lot of resources. We have the brand new 988 number, which is the crisis hotline. So that is a number that you can call if you are, or you or a loved one are in crisis. We also have, you know, mental health experts, whether it's in the form of, you know, going to a facility, whether it's a talk therapist or a psychiatrist or things of that nature. You know, behavioral health and mental health is become, you know, we're having more and more open conversation about those things. A lot of people, more people are coming forward. And so again, wanting to be proactive, showing that those resources are available, raising awareness that, there is hope, that people are not alone in the things that they're going through.
Rhonda, you get an opportunity to travel the world, talk about these type of topics. What are your thoughts on? I mean, a lot of people just think that this is a U.S. problem.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on how other countries are feeling, and what are they doing to help prevent some of these? I call it illness from happening.
Right. So I will say that yes, mental health, behavioral health, um, our emotional health. This is definitely a global issue. It's not something that's just in any one country or state or jurisdiction or anything like that. When you travel overseas, you have the same, the same challenges and difficulties there. And so that's why I think it's important for us to, raise awareness on a global scale. So the other thing that I've come to learn is that not only does mental health not discriminate on geography, but it doesn't matter your gender or your age, your social economic background. Mental health can affect anyone at any time for any reason. It doesn't necessarily have to be, someone who may be struggling financially. There are people who have had money and have still struggled with, finances. So mental health doesn't discriminate. Your square footage of your house, the amount of money in your bank account, the amount of letters you have after your name. Mental health can affect anyone at any time for any reason. And that brings me to sort of our next point. When we think about some of the well-known people who have had, who have died by suicide, we think about Chelsea Chris, who was a Miss USA, went to work every day. I think she worked for a television show as like a journalist or a broadcaster. First of all, she was a Miss USA, so she was beautiful. Second of all, I believe she was an attorney, so she was highly intelligent. She, she had her social justice cause, so she was, involved. She had a family. She had a loving family. She had a mom who loved her dearly. So in addition to her, she died by suicide. We also had Ellen DeGeneres' DJ. His name was Twitch. I think his first name was Stephen Twitch. Again, had a family, was married, had 3 children, was on a comedian's talk show, and yet died by suicide. We had Robin Williams, a person who made people laugh for a living, died by suicide. We had Kate Spade, again, someone who was by all means successful, had a well-known brand, died by suicide. And I think shortly before or after her, it was, I think, a very popular chef named Anthony Bourdain, I believe is how you say his name. And so we have those people, different ages, different genders, different backgrounds, but the same struggle. And so mental health does not discriminate. Different people from different backgrounds can have that struggle. And so again, that's why I think spreading awareness, showing support, having resources, knowing the risk factors, the warning signs, eliminating the stigma, all of those things are so important. Not only this month, this is the month that we want to make sure that we raise the awareness, but we need to have these conversations consistently and openly all the time.
You talk about stigmas. What are some of the other stigmas that may exist and people might be going through? People.
Oh, so there are tons. So I think one of the most common misconceptions or stigmas or myths, if I can just say that, one of the biggest ones is that, people who take their life or who die by suicide, that they're selfish, that they're weak, or that they're cowards. And the truth is that, people don't die by suicide by a choice. Oftentimes they experience a significant amount of emotional pain. And they just find it difficult to see a way out of their situation or escaping that pain. So they don't really want to end their life. They want to end the pain, because a lot of people wonder, well, how can they leave family behind, or how can they leave their loved ones? But that is the level of emotional pain that they are in. And then, the topic of suicide is very complex. It's associated with, obviously mental illness. There could be other factors, depression, or, some other type of mental disorder there. We don't always know everything that's been going on, again, which is why it's important to know those mixed factors. But I think that is a number one sort of misconception. And so when people think about stigma and they hear of someone who has, died by suicide, but, we don't want the stigma of that person was selfish or cowardly or weak, because those things are not true. Also, another stigma is to not talk about it. Oh, if I bring it up, that might encourage them to actually perform the act. And that's not true. Talking about it may actually reduce rather than increase the suicidal thoughts, because it can help the person with either seeking treatment, having open conversations, finding alternative views of what their existing circumstances are. For example, if the person is in crisis, or, maybe feeling depressed, they may just need, some type of support, again, knowing that they're not alone in what they're going through, and knowing that there's, resources out there or other things that they can do so that they can have hope and not choose that way, that particular way out.
Dr. Rhonda, do you believe one of the stigmas, especially within minority communities, is that, we don't go seek help? We go to church, or, we just talk it out. Do you believe that some of that stigma does exist in some minority communities, that we don't seek therapy, we don't seek professional help, and we don't want people to know our business, or strangers? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, wow, that's huge, man. I could like create a whole talk show about that, about faith and mental health, because I do think there are a lot of people that think they can't both exist at the same time. Like, for example, I can't be a person of faith and be suffering with depression. I can't be a person of faith and have mental health symptoms. I must not be close to God. I must not be praying hard enough. You must not go to church. You must not read your Bible. All of those things are completely untrue. If you read your Bible, there are people in the Bible who had mental health issues, and God still used them and delivered them in major ways. Sometimes God puts people in our path to help us with some of the things that we're going through. And then sometimes God uses our mental health. We find the solutions, and then our job is to reach back and help the other people who might be struggling as well. And I feel like that's a big part of my mission as someone who has, some mental health symptoms have run in my family. And so, sometimes it's an issue of nature versus nurture. It's not, for some people, hey, these are symptoms that are in the genes. For other people, it might be environmental, it might be a result of some childhood trauma or something of that nature. And so, yes, I do believe some minority communities, Black communities, we feel like it's almost a taboo word, like therapy or getting help is like a dirty word, or that will appear weak. We're always supposed to appear strong and in control and in charge. And so doing something like going to therapy, well, that's not for people of our race or our background. That's not what we do. Let me make you a pot of macaroni and cheese and greens. You'll feel better. Some soul food to comfort your soul. But, I am a person who actually who went to therapy. I've been doing it. I've been going to grief therapy because, like I said, I lost both of my parents and my older sister. So I've been doing grief therapy a big portion of my life. But just in terms of talk therapy, just for myself, even if it's just a check-in to kind of boost my battery, I've been doing that for like the last 8 or 9 years. Best decision I ever made. I'm telling you, I walk out of those talks feeling like a new person, feeling like I have lifted tons of weight off of my shoulders. I have no shame in it. I don't believe in the stigma. I still go to church and I still praise and worship every Sunday. and I still see my therapist at the same time. And so that stigma about, not going to therapy, it's not for us or for certain communities or for certain people, that needs to be eliminated as well.
And thank you, Dr. Rhonda. I know we have to go to break, James, but I want Dr. Rhonda to think about this, that, what some of the stigmas come from, wow, they seem to have it all. They're good looking. They come from a wealthy family. Their parents are great. They went to the best schools, got the best education, got a great job, lots of money, lots of cars. What do they have to be depressed about? So I just want you to think about that before we come back from break.
Yeah, we got to take a station break, but these are absolutely a wonderful discussion that we're having. And so we're going to talk about a share question that you just asked. Dr. Rhonda Woods. And if you want to be part of the conversation, if you got questions, all you have to do is just go to the platform that you're watching this on. I promise you, we'll get you on there. It's your life. We'll see you shortly after the break.
I never wanna leave. Yeah, I'm right where I wanna be. We got something you and me, and I can't get rid of this feeling. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Hey, I'm so drawn to you. I'm so drawn to you. Yeah, yeah.
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection. Hello, welcome back to It's Your Life. I tell you, this is such a wonderful discussion that we're having, and a much needed topic to discuss. Just more than just a one topic or one show topic. Dr. Woods, just like I mentioned, and I say it now, we have to do part two, or maybe part three as well, because we have to get platforms, open platforms where we share this message, especially I think we need to share it all year long, not just during suicide prevention month. But this is something that need to be shared on a regular basis, daily basis, and we need to bring awareness to as many people as possible, many organizations as possible, to help resolve this. So, if you want to be part of the conversation, just like Michelle just asked Dr. Woods right before the break, and if you got questions like that, just go to whatever platform you're watching this on or listening on, and just shoot us a message, and I promise you we'll get you an answer. But Michelle, you had asked a question. Can you re-emphasize that? Uh,
Yes. Yes, thank you. Dr. Wood, one of the stigmas we hear when someone does attempt or does commit suicide is wondering, wow, they're a good-looking person. They seem to have it all. They come from a good family. They're wealthy. They live in a big house, great job, lots of money, great family, kids, and everything like that. They don't understand. It's like, I don't understand. Why would they seem to have it all? Why would they want to do something like this? And that has maybe society thinking, well, maybe you can externally have these things, but mental health is an internal thing. So I just wanted you to comment on that stigma regarding a person having it all externally.
Right. I love how you talk about that they may have things externally. And so mental health is typically an internal issue. And I say this all the time that mental health has different faces. So yes, if you only look at the external, if you only look at, a person's beauty, what they're wearing, what they're driving, where they live, how much money they have, their education, when you only look at those things, you cannot judge someone's mental health capacity on that. You can't look at their social media and say, oh, they apparently they're doing good. They're taking, they're smiling in their photos, or they're going, or they can get up every day, or they can they can write out a social media post. Or, oh, they just traveled to, this vacation. Look like they're on vacation having a great time. They must not have mental health. And all of those things are completely untrue. That is a part of the stigma. And so what I always tell people when I say mental health has different faces, a person, many people have learned to wear we've learned how to be deceptive, right? We've learned how to wear these rehearsed looks of everything is okay, all is well. Typically, when someone asks us how we're doing, most people are going to respond with I'm good or I'm fine, because that's the rehearsed response that we're used to giving. And so there are many people who don't look like or behave like they are dealing with a mental health challenge, whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, PTSD, or more importantly, suicidal thoughts or ideations. And so we expect people with mental health to, be broke, or have raggedy clothes, or have showered in 10 days, or to show some signs of downheartedness or isolation or nervousness. And yes, those things can be true. But the people who we need to look out for are the people who hold their head up high with a big smile on their face and appear that everything is okay. Because there are many cases and instances where those are the people who are hiding it, and they are masking and hiding deep emotional pain.
Wow.
Those instances that I gave before about Chelsea Chris, 24 hours before she died by suicide, she went to work and was around people and was laughing. 24 hours before Ellen DeGeneres' DJ died by suicide, he was with his family and dancing, and I think playing family games. So we cannot judge people on external. So that is a part of this thing. You are absolutely right. We have to be aware of the warning signs and risk factors. We have to, check on people who, even though they appear that they're okay, we still have to make sure that we, recognize anything that's outside of the norm. It may not be obvious, completely obvious.
Are there certain demographic groups more prone to suicide, Dr. Wood?
Well, like I said, it can affect anyone at any time for any reason. So let me make sure I put that out there. But if I remember correctly, statistics have shown, because a lot of people think, oh, it's just, it's just young people, or it's just poor people from a certain background. It's typically more men than women. I think women may think about it more, but men, in terms of gender, are more likely to die by suicide. In terms of age group, the age group is actually 45 to 65.
Wow.
That's the age group, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember I used to work with this girl a long time ago, really sweet young girl, and such a joy. And then, she unfortunately took her life. And that's what I guess the message you want to convey to the audience is that a smile and happiness, nice clothes and everything doesn't mean that a person is not going through. And then I think that the people are left behind wondering, wow, why couldn't they just come to me and just talk to me? But, unless someone walks a mile in that person's shoes, pain, depression, it's an overwhelming feeling. And sometimes you don't know how the person's experiencing, and maybe they just don't see any way out. So there's just so much going on there. What are your thoughts on that?
I think there's two quick things I want to say. If we have ever, unfortunately, had an experience where someone died by suicide, I think it's so important to know that we need to, if we are feeling a certain level of guilt, we need to release ourselves from feeling any type of guilt because someone committed suicide. It was a choice that they made. And, like I said, in many instances, it's something that they hide. Some people are just very good at what I talked about before, that deceptive look. So, that's very important for people to know, because I think sometimes we carry survivor's guilt. We feel bad that this person happened. They didn't come to me, or how did I not know? How did I not see? So I think the first thing we need to do is release ourselves from that. The other thing is, like I said, we're spreading awareness, not just this month. This is the month where we talk about it, but all throughout is, again, those factors where we create or let people know, hey, you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
I want to create a safe, non-judgment, confidential space for you. If you want my support, if you want me to be here, whether it's a listening ear, if you want me to accompany you or help you find some help. I think those are some things that are important for people who might be struggling.
Do you believe society's fixation on perfection does play us part in attempted suicide rates, or just suicide in general? I mean, we look at, social media. Social media is a great thing. I'm saying social media is a great thing, but there are people who might use it for nefarious, means. So, striving for perfection according to society, do you believe that can play a small part in people feeling less than?
Yes, and it may or may not lead to that level of severity. Typically, people have a difficulty with coping. They have a difficulty where they don't see any other way out. They have a deep level of emotional pain. It is so deep. And there are some people, if you think about it, negative coping skills, there are some people who turn to drugs. There are some people who turn to alcohol. There are some people who turn to other types of, very toxic or negative or even risky behaviors, right? But when it gets to the point of, hey, I don't want to be here anymore, that is the level of their deep emotional pain. So what typically happens when people are going through depression, whether it's because of, like I know there are some people who, for example, who have gone away to college, right? And being away from their family and being in this college environment and trying to, get good grades, not throw away, my parents money, who are paying for my education, this pressure to get all A's and pass and be a lawyer or a doctor or some level of success, these expectations and pressures that we get from family, from peers, from friends, or just our own self. Sometimes they're self-imposed. I have to meet, these check boxes by the time I'm this age or at this point in my life. All of those pressures, right, can sometimes contribute to a disconnect or issues with our emotions and emotional health and our mental health, those types of pressures. And then sometimes, because in many cases, before we get to the suicidal ideations and thoughts, there's typically sometimes some mental health issues that lead to the suicidal thoughts. So whether it's depression, anxiety, PTSD, whether it's bullying at school, whether it's I just can't take it anymore, this is too much, I don't know how to handle it. It's typically a difficulty with coping or managing emotions, stress, feelings, thoughts, negativity. It just becomes too much trying to manage that deep level of emotional pain.
Wow. Hold it though, because
Sure.
I think we need to touch on that after the break. But
Mhm.
I tell you, I know I'm looking at the numbers here, so a lot of people out there are watching and listening. And hey, if you want to become part of the conversation, not too late. Just go to the comments and ask any question that you might have. Dr. Rhonda Woods will get you an answer. It's your life. We'll see you shortly after the break.
Still looking over your shoulder, still working on your defense. By now you think it's all over, cause you worry too much and you don't know what you'll fight against. And if you want my opinion, I'll let it take me away. Only relief is the four on the floor and the crowd that goes, turn it up, 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 turn it up.
Hello. Hey, I'm James Cooley. I am the founder and CEO of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, Options, Opportunities, / the Choice Program. Our primary mission is to help build the foundation of our youth and young adults and communities. And we encourage everyone to dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. And the way that you do that is, first of all, you got to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you are here for a purpose. You also have to be able to step out your comfort zone and do things that you probably didn't think that you can do. Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. And Rhonda, I tell you, this is such valuable information that you're sharing with our viewers and our listeners. And I hope that if anybody that's watching and listening, if you got some of these type of thoughts, that you reach out, and Rhonda is going to mention again to you about some of the resources and some of the places that you might be able to turn to, and also family and friends. Most importantly, family and friends, because they're closer to you. And family and friends, if you see some of the signs of mental health, suicide, etc., I think you have to bring that to the person's attention and help them seek help. So, just like I mentioned earlier, we all in this together, and we all got to work together to help resolve this problem. Uh, Dr. Wood, now I know you had talked earlier about some of the specifics or resources. Again, if you can talk about that again, maybe repeat some of the same things, so that I know somebody that's watching this show. I know probably many that are now thinking about this. So, can you talk a little bit more about that, Dr. Wood?
Sure. So, two, yeah, two resources that come to my mind really quickly is one, again, the crisis hotline, which is 3 digits. It's 988. So 988 will patch you through a crisis hotline where you can get some, talk through what you're going through, get some support there. And also, I talked a little bit about the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, NAMI.org is a great resource for not just information about suicide awareness and prevention, but also other types of mental health, whether it's learning about symptoms, whether it's support groups, whether it's education classes, and all of these things are free. So I think that is an excellent resource. They have affiliates in most jurisdictions throughout the country. I am actually a board member of NAMI here in the local Washington, D.C. area and for my county. And so doing great work in the community with outreach, whether it's to students, to seniors, and things of that nature, because, like I said, can affect anyone at any time. So those are two great resources that come to mind. And I think a third resource is just in the community. So we want to make sure that we ourselves are providing support to a loved one or someone we're concerned about who may have suicidal thoughts or ideations. And again, if I could just reiterate, you want to let the person know that they are not alone. Hey, there is hope. Let me be there for you. Let me provide a safe, confidential, no judgment space. And either, I could be a listening ear, or we can, I can accompany you to an appointment with a professional, or I can help you find some other resource that you're comfortable with. So I think those are important.
Dr. Woods, say we got organizations, maybe not in DC or Maryland, that would love for you to come out and discuss and share your ideas. How could they do that?
Sure. The best way to contact me is through my website, drrhondamwood.com. So it's DR and then RHONDAMWOOD.com. So on my website, you can send me an email. You can connect with me through social media. You can send me a chat, a note. You can just find out a little bit more about what I do and what I represent and whom I help. You want to partner or collaborate. All of that information is on my website.
We got the better part, 2 minutes to go. What are some of the takeaways that you want our viewers and our listeners to get from this great discussion?
Yes. So, man, it's a few things. If I could leave us with maybe like the top three. One is that suicide prevention and awareness, a difficult but necessary discussion that we shouldn't just have in the month of September, continuously have. And so I think it's everybody's responsibility, individually and collectively. So whether you're a religious organization, whether you're a educational organization, whether you are a corporation, being able to provide resources for people who might need support, not waiting until something happens, being proactive and not reactive. So if it's a workplace, if it's a school, if it's in the community, like I said, we have NAMI.org as a resource, providing those opportunities for people who might need them. So that's number one. Number two, if you know someone, knowing what the risk factors and warning signs are. Sometimes someone who may, have a plan or be having these thoughts, they may say things, like, I just don't want to be here anymore, or, life is, whatever, or, or start giving things away. So, looking for those types of things. And again, safe, confidential, no judgment. Don't pass judgment. Don't have a debate on whether it's right or wrong. Don't have a debate about whether you're going to heaven or hell. That is not the time. It's about being there for the individual, not making it political or religious. I think another thing on that note is knowing that you can be a person of faith and have mental health issues. Again, it's not about whether a person is close to God, going to church, reading their Bible, praying hard enough. It's about, helping that person get the support that they need. And I think for me, it's just hanging in there. I actually supported a loved one who not only had suicidal thoughts and ideations, but actually attempted. And that was a really difficult time for me. And I had to make sure that I was, making sure that I was okay, that I was staying calm, that I wasn't reacting or overreacting, but just making sure that no matter what, letting that person know that I love them. I wanted them to, be here, see what God had for them, and just, providing the love, encouragement, and support that I felt like they so desperately needed. I think that was really important and really made the difference in the long run.
It does. And Dr. Rhonda, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the James Cooley Show. It's your life, especially topics like this. I do believe that if you have time, we'll do a part two. You always got a standing invitation to my show. You already know that. So thank you so much. Thank you. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely fantastic show.
Awesome.
Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners for always tuning in to the James Cooley Show, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Always dream big, think big, and be big. At everything you do, it's your life. And we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life.